So draft stuff. The draft was decently predictable from certain aspects and then unpredictable in certain aspects. I'm not going to take a victory lap for being right for a year and a half, 2 years.
Well, I was going to set you up for that. That was kind of part of my take. But
oh, okay. Well, you can do that if you like. But I'm not going to take a victory lap over being right for a year and a half, 2 years.
My first question was going to be, do you think there was anybody more correct about Will Levis in the country than Brandon Walker?
I mean, it's a fair question.
He's going to be fine. It's part of the story.
I listen. That's accurate.
This may actually benefit.
Let's do the real talk version first. Okay. First of all, Will Levis got drafted at the top of the second round, which is a phenomenal accomplishment for a football player.
Oh yeah,
it is a phenomenal and incredible accomplishment. He also goes to a team that needs a quarterback, and he does so with expectations that will be set the right way. If he were a top 5 pick and went to the Titans, you're putting him in week 1, week 2, week 3 and saying it's your franchise for the next 10 years, and that might not work out. The guy needs to develop. He is 6'4", 230, throws a rocket, but he needs to develop NFL skills at the NFL level. He needs to develop against NFL players because he didn't get that at Kentucky. He showed up at Kentucky 6'4", 230 and left 6'4", 230 with no discernible pro skills that were instilled upon him whatsoever. I don't know why. At some point, somebody in the draft process fell in love with him and hyped him to a level they should not have.
Mel Kiper?
Mel Kiper, but this happened a year and a half, 2 years. I think
he was in the mock drafts last year. This time,
I think we've been going a year and a half ago.
Which is like a bigger question. But how do these guys get these certain? And it doesn't happen every year, but there's always somebody that slides. Not to the degree that Will Levis did, because the green room shot at the very end when every other table was dark is just a sad sight. How do they miss on these guys like this?
Well, first of all, you got to understand
to that degree.
To be fair to the guy, he didn't get passed on by 32 teams.
No,
he got passed on by 5 teams.
Well, and the Titans were trying to trade up into
and the Titans ended up getting him, right?
Right.
So he didn't get
After
passed
11,
on by 32 teams. He got passed on by 5 because only 5 came in there wanting and needing a quarterback.
And once at, what was it, 11 that the Titans didn't select him, he should have left.
There's nobody left for him to pick him.
He should have been like, you know what, I'm out of the green room. I'm not going tonight.
I'm looking at a 2024 mock draft.
Oh, God.
It's unbelievable.
So I know Caleb Williams is one. You know what? I want to do that whole thing in just a second. Will Levis was a victim of hype and everything, and it sucked. I will say Will Levis handled himself remarkably, I thought.
100%.
He did leave for the second round, but why wouldn't he?
He had a family. There was a family thing that he had to do.
I would have left immediately after 11.
His girlfriend was there. His sisters were there. I thought they did a great job too.
Very funny that it was confusing once the blonde sister was traded out for the brunette girlfriend. Everyone
I knew right away, by the way.
You did?
We know that you did.
All of them because I've known his girlfriend for a while.
Of course, Jack. I mean, Jack's the girlfriend whisperer.
They both follow me on TikTok.
Jack's the girlfriend
Hold
whisperer.
On. Time
we're
out.
Friends.
Can I say I won't do that mock draft? Don't let me get out of this without doing it.
Gia Duddy's
But
name.
listen.
Oh.
And I don't care where she's from because this is a take about something else. Have y'all seen that motherfucking mushroom Jeff Nadeau and what he said that night?
Oh, that was crazy.
That piece of shit.
What did he
that
say?
Fucking fire hydrant of a human being. He said he took a picture of Will Levis' girlfriend, quote tweeted and said, "I know he didn't find her in Kentucky. You piece of shit. You would shit your pants if you went down south and saw the women."
I did see that, and I almost thought he was joking because it's a well-known thing that women in the South always are better looking than the men that they're with.
University of Kentucky, it's a state school. Every state school in America has incredibly good-looking women. He did meet that girl at Penn State, but there's incredibly good-looking women like Jamal Murray's girlfriend.
When we went to Mississippi in 2020 and Rudy came with us, Rudy said, he was like, I know that women in the South are known to be beautiful and Southern belles. He was like, there is nothing more humbling than seeing one of the hottest girls you've ever seen next to their piece of shit looking boyfriend. He was like, it is unbelievable how ugly the dudes are in comparison to the women.
That is accurate.
It is. I mean, your wife.
That's the South.
You outkicked your coverage more than.
Yeah.
Oh, I kicked 2 or 3 football fields.
It's true.
I had a hell of a leg on me.
Yes. You did. But
I don't think so. I think you have a pretty good, not to say you would get divorced or anything, but like you would be a top tier. You have money. Mm-hmm. You have charisma. You're tall.
6'6".
You're tall.
Uh-huh.
I mean, obviously we could trade the Chick-fil-A for the salads, and then if you were single.
No, he's right. He's right.
But you would be, and I think you're a fine-looking human being.
But here's the thing, though. Hypothetically,
but
if
his
this was
wife
to happen,
is very.
But his wife would have a much easier time in the market.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well,
but
I mean,
wouldn't.
women do anyway.
Well, that's true, but
yeah,
that is true.
All right.
Anyways, Jeff Nadeau, I thought it was so absurd because you're right. I did see that. I forgot that he said it. I thought it was almost tongue in cheek, but I guess it wasn't.
Also, it's warmer weather. You're going to actually know what the girls look like.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't want it to be warmer.
Back to the NFL draft.
Go to Alaska.
Back to the NFL draft. Now, everything that kind of dinged Will Levis, when I look at Will Levis, I say, here's a guy that has it all, has all the tools, looks like $1 million, but just didn't have the production and didn't play very well, and something didn't translate. But at the same time, if that's the reason he slides, we still watched Anthony Richardson get picked 4th to the Colts.
Why?
Well, his athleticism is, if you think Will Levis is athletic, Anthony Richardson is a different level. Like, he broke every record, and I get it. Katie had a good tweet, too, that went viral like 2 months ago, and then she bumped it during the draft, which was good. Like, wait until you see the game tape, which is true. Like, there was times we would watch Anthony Richardson and be like, this guy can't play football.
For every one, like, fantastic Heisman-type play, I feel like there's 3 of just, like, what are you doing?
So the reason the reasoning I came to was Will Levis, in his 2 years at Kentucky, all of his SEC games are about at this level, right? And he had 16 SEC games. He threw for more than 250 once. He just never really rose above that level, but he never really sank.
There weren't peaks and valleys.
Anthony Richardson, I mean, he beat Utah at home with a tremendous performance. He played great against Tennessee on the road. He would have games where he was god-awful, like against Florida State, like against Kentucky. But there was up and down, and that's just an underdeveloped quarterback. The fact that he showed you those peaks, I think that's what the Colts looked at, and you couldn't look at those peaks and say, wow, I need some of that. So I get it, but I would have thought they would go closer together.
Anthony Richardson is 2 years younger than Will, which is a big deal because those next 2 years are like, I mean, it just goes back to why these seniors in college basketball sometimes they don't get drafted because they're 22. When you're 18, like you still have a long way to go in terms of just athletic development.
Was it Florida's actual Twitter account that did the?
No, it looked like it. It was
Anthony
just
Richardson
like a blog.
versus Stetson Bennett.
It was just a blog account.
Oh,
I thought that was funny.
It did look legit.
Georgia fans were pissed. That's why the way that Anthony Richardson went versus Will Levis, which again you were 100% right on, and I know that moving forward and down the line we'll probably say it's going to be fine.
Not that big of a deal that I was right for 2 years.
You were very right. Kentucky fans told you were a fucking crazy.
We can't say yet.
No, but for what we've seen so far, he is right.
Fair, yeah.
Because he was like, why he's not going to be a top draft pick, which again, I feel like they should let them leave at a certain point. But when we talk about the draft every year and we're like, what are these guys seeing? It's so unpredictable because it's like Anthony Richardson. We watched every single college football game. You wouldn't have picked him 4th, right? I mean, you wouldn't have. If you were in that war room,
no.
you wouldn't have. But then the opposite happens with Will Levis where people are saying he's going to be a lottery pick and then he's not. And it's just like...
I also think he was close. I bet Will Levis went into Thursday night thinking he was going to get picked. And
I bet reason. I mean, a lot of people thought he was.
I bet teams told him.
Yeah.
And then agents told him. And for whatever reason, I mean, things change on that night all the time. And he was the first pick in the second round.
All right.
One thing, did you watch the interview with CJ Stroud pre our NFL draft show?
It was done by Will Compton.
Yes.
It was a terrific interview, done very well.
There's a certain line about him talking about Ohio State, Michigan.
Yeah.
He called it a childish game.
Did we ever put that clip out?
The clip, I've been looking for the clip, but the whole thing's out now.
He called it a childish game?
What did
he never
say?
beat them.
Like the fans are childish?
Like, so Will asked him, is like, what are your thoughts? Like, first class. He incorrectly was like, first class in 20 years, not beating them, but CJ's response was, it's a childish game. I'm on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, you can't lead in with the negative, but...
That's kind of like shutting the door behind you as you leave or starting a fire and then leaving.
He's the first starting quarterback for Ohio State that hasn't beat Michigan since when, man? 2005.
Yeah, a long time.
A long time. Like, and he's one of the best, but I mean, he never beat.
I only got 2 shots at him. You only got 2 shots at him,
and
right?
It was Michigan's
That's a lot if you
best
think about
years.
it.
I guess in a bigger picture, what he's saying is, college childish behind me. But you can't say that about Ohio State, Michigan.
Well, I think you can as long as you're not still playing there. Like it's another. He started a fire and then he left.
Yeah.
Like he said, and he made Michigan fans mad. And now he doesn't have to deal with it.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you think Ohio State fans liked that?
They probably don't care.
They're going to back their guy regardless.
Yeah.
Gotta ask Ev.